Okay then, listen up geezers, because I have got a list for you that is so hot it is scalding my bloody eyes just looking at it. But thankfully, I've got a real cool dude in the form of Josh Lloyd from FGS who is here to help me out with this bumper crop of upcoming PC games that you need to get hyped about. Say hi, Josh.
Hello, please help me.
No, don't ignore that. So let's just chat about all things that will put starch in your hard drives and are so spicy you wouldn't want your motherboard catching you looking at them. As I'm Jules, this is Josh.
Hello.
And these are 10 upcoming PC games to get hyped about. Number 10, Level 0 Extraction. Now listen up, champs. If you're in the mood for an extraction shooter with a twist, then boy howdy is Level 0 Extraction something you need on your radar. This is a beautiful mix of squad-based combat and survival horror that looks to scratch the itch of Left 4 Dead and Dark Tide fans, as you'll be securing loot, putting down bodies, and hauling ass to the nearest extraction point. However, before you think that it's all action and tension and that's all the game has to offer, it drops the fact that you'll also be hunted by a set of monstrous alien creatures that are piloted by another team of players. This instantly ups the pressure on players who now need to work together to lock down rooms, explore and secure intel, and then make it out in one piece. And seeing as the alien team can move through the level using secret passages and set traps for you, well, you're gonna have to watch each other's back with every step. And you too can feel the tension, the horror, and the excitement when Level 0 Extraction drops this August.
Number 9, Reka. Reka, I'm really not
Reka, it's reeking of awesome, whatever it is.
Later this very month of August, unless something has gone horribly wrong with the release of this video, Reka is releasing. In this game, you're training to be a witch under the Baba Yaga herself, solving mysteries and quests, foraging for ingredients and practicing spells in this open-world autumnal wonderland. Also, you live in a big, fully customizable house that walks around with the body of a chicken.
Whoa. You make it sound like people don't already do that. I mean, I'm in Wales. That's my neighbour's house. I'm just looking at that right now.
And what could be better than that? This is a game for anyone who likes farming, building, or any of that other cozy stuff with a hint of spooky flavoured magic.
Sign me up, brother. Number 8, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Now, the original Kingdom Come Deliverance was a breath of fresh air for fans of medieval role-playing games, as with its meaty combat with tons of tactical options, myriad ways of customizing your character, and of course a slightly wonky game world that was ripe for abuse by smelly peasants looking to have a silly time, this truly was a game that put the likes of Skyrim on notice. And it seems that Warhorse Studios is set to evict Bethesda's long-standing fantasy title from your hearts and minds with the upcoming release of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, a sequel that looks to build on everything that made the original so utterly charming. While the main plot might be one of revenge and daring do, you can daring do none of this if you fancy, and in the words of the developer, live a life medieval. Yet don't worry, this doesn't mean dying in your mid-20s to starvation or the plague. It actually refers to the promise of getting lost in a historically accurate 15th century setting. From sprawling cities to lush vistas waiting to be explored, you can spend a lifetime and more engaging in side activities like blacksmithing and archery, hunting and crafting, and basically ignore the fact that your parents have been murdered and that there's a civil war going on.
Isn't that every video game though? It sets up the stakes and you have to ignore it because of the fun.
Yeah, the fun is the fun. Still, one thing's for sure, KCD2 is going to hit hard when it comes to combat, pushing the already established clunky but funky fighting in the original to new heights and promises to give players the opportunity to battle how they want to. Expect to clash steel when Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 drops later this year.
That sounds like a slicing, dicing good time, unlike the more dour tone of number 7, Frostpunk 2. One of the biggest releases for PC gamers this year comes on September 20th with Frostpunk 2, sequel to one of the biggest city builders of all time. This post-apocalyptic strategy survival game builds on its predecessor by focusing on where the game goes after you've built your frozen city. Where before you were facing nature, now you're up against an even more fearsome foe.
Is it a swarm of bees? Is it a man with a hat made of shoes that also have knives on them? What is it, Josh?
It's the worst predator of all, man.
Vince McMahon.
You play as a steward and must mediate competing interests to keep the city stable and running smoothly, with cities on a greater scale than you could have even imagined in the first game, story and sandbox modes, and endless possibilities. Frostpunk 2 is definitely one to look out for.
Just as a side note, by the way, Frostpunk, the original game, is amazing fun.
Absolute banger.
It is a depression simulator, but it is really fun. Number 6. Wild Bastards. Now, with a name like Wild Bastards, there was absolutely zero chance that this game wouldn't draw my attention, and seeing as it's a sequel to a video game I absolutely adored, I am doubling down on the hype for this upcoming FPS title. Wild Bastards sees you jump into the shoes, bones, metal exoskeletons, and ghostly spirit jogging bottoms of an utterly deranged cast of characters, all of whom are seeking revenge and are teaming up for one more run at the devil themselves. What this means for the player is a rooting and or tooting time in which they'll level up each of the 13 different characters, make use of their bespoke loadouts and special abilities in combat, and then keep the gang working as one outside of the action, with developing relationships that offer boons and nerfs depending on your actions. Each world you land on is procedurally generated, so there's a ton of replayability from the jump, and because each stage contains different effects that will sometimes suit and be a nightmare for certain characters respectively, you need to plan which of your gang is going to take the first few bloody steps in this action-packed new frontier. Wild Bastards is set to drop in 2024 for all manner of consoles and of course PC, but you can bet your tin star we'll be covering this as soon as we get our mitts on it.
I am very excited for that game, I have to admit.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
I love Void Bastards.
Because we spoke about it last time, like, I didn't know it was a sequel, and I was like, yes, somebody who's even played Void Bastards.
I looked it up since and I was like, obviously this is a sequel. Yeah. What was I on?
In my restless dreams, I see that town.
Mary?
If you know anything about the coverage I like to do here on FGS and elsewhere, you'll know that I am a horror liker, a horror lover even.
A horror romancer, some have said. He's not actually allowed back in the cinemas, he's that attached to some horror films. I can't tell you what goes on there.
I have to move around a lot. I'll leave it at that. So I had to include Silent Hill 2's remake on this list. I would be remiss not to. So number 5 is Silent Hill 2. Okay, look, I know that this one feels more like a console game. The original release of Silent Hill 2 was a PS2 game, and the new one has been featured in PlayStation showcases, but I just have to include the remake coming out on October 8th. No matter what you think of Bloober Team, or what you've seen of the game so far, it is undeniably exciting for fans of the game to know that very soon we'll be jumping into a high-budget, new, official take on one of the best games ever made and probably the most important horror game of all time, behind Resident Evil?
Or Blue Stinger, you know, that game also existed.
It sure did, Jules. Do I need to say more? Good or bad, I couldn't be more excited to see what's in store. Special shout out as well to Slitterhead, releasing in November, which is being directed by the director of the original Silent Hill game, so it's relevant to this entry.
Whoa, pop cop in the room. You just put 2 entries in one. I am arresting you, sir, on the account of giving people too much content. All right, I'm the pop cop. Stop that now.
I'm just giving people value for their watch time. Time is money, okay?
And speaking of money, let's talk about Blizzard. Moving into number 4 now, Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. Now, it would be hard not to make a list of PC games and not include the cornerstone of keyboard warriors, Diablo 4. And while this is technically an expansion pack for the already beefy game, there's so much new content promised that it really does look to revitalize the experience. Alongside a wonderfully beautiful new jungle region to explore, players will get to take up the mantle of a new class known as the Spiritborn, a fighter that uses spirit guardians to amplify their combat capabilities to ungodly levels.
Use spirits to power your abilities? Would you call this a Souls-like game?
Oh, Josh. Don't make me do the woo-woo again. That's a pop cop infringement right there. That's good, though. I enjoyed that. Thank you. Add to this a continuation of Diablo 4's brilliant storyline, and you've already got a huge wedge of material to chew on. Yet the real meat on this big boner is the multifaceted endgame dungeon that Blizzard have teased, as this is set to be a true challenge for players that think that they've seen it all and done it all. Here, players will need to work together in order to overcome the odds, and the devs have teased that this really will push parties to their limits, and then some. Thankfully, you've still got some time to train up and get ready for this ultimate encounter as Vessel of Hatred drops on the 8th of October this year.
And moving swiftly along to get as far away as quickly as possible from the phrase "the real meat on this big boner," number 3 is Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. On November 19th, the world will get to see the latest iteration of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Flight Sim 2024 marks the 40th anniversary of this iconic franchise. This title seeks to take advantage of all the latest technology available to deliver the most sophisticated and immersive experience yet. And I'll tell you, following up a game that lets you explore literally the entire planet sets a high bar. This new entry seems to be focusing on weather systems and graphics for pilots who want to nosedive into something perhaps a bit more challenging than a plain weatherless flight.
Boo, boo.
Thank you, I'm here all night. I recently got myself a flight stick, so I know I'll be absolutely embarrassing myself behind the wheel, stick, rudder of a plane, helicopter, or other skyfaring vessel very soon.
Now, I'm so happy for you that you're going to get to enjoy this game. I am petrified of flying, so the thought of playing a flying simulator game like that, no, not in a million years. Like, the thought of digital turbulence sets me off.
So, really, for you, I've actually talked about 2 horror games in this list.
Yeah, true. Number 2, Metal Slug Tactics. Okay, so if there's one thing that you should all know about me by now, it's that I absolutely love a good old tactics or strategy title. Seriously, for a man with next to no clue how to organise my day-to-day life, I'm absolutely honed in the moment it comes to video game micromanagement. And so, when I saw the early footage from Metal Slug Tactics, I made a giddy squeal that sounded like a pig made of helium being deflated, as this, my friends, is my absolute jam, and it will be yours too when it drops in December this year. And why is that? Well, firstly, you have eyes. Look at how beautiful and wonderfully faithful to the source material the aesthetics of this game are. Secondly, the tactics aspect seems to involve a ton of careful placement and an unhealthy amount of explosions, so is ticking the armchair general and the arsonist tick boxes very hard, as well as the fact that level destruction is going to be key to victory, as you can drop buildings and bridges on the heads of your enemies. Plus, this is also being developed by .emu, who already have a proven track record of revitalizing classic games with outstanding new installments. And side note, if you've not played Shredder's Revenge or Streets of Rage 4, you are missing out, my friends. And on that note, if you're not playing this on Christmas Day, when this drops in December, then you are missing out as well. Screw the family, I've got the gift that keeps on giving, and that is explosions.
Kaboom. And a slightly less explosive title to round us out is number 1, Baby Steps. Do you remember getting over it? Do you remember that game?
Yes, I do. I never got over it.
Remember watching your favorite streamer suffer, or even yourself, with one of the most grueling challenges mankind has ever conceived? Well, now imagine if that was in 3D.
Oh, God.
And you were playing as an average gamer. In Baby Steps, releasing sometime this year, I hope, and I think the developers hope too, you have to recreate what it's like when you're so drunk you no longer have any way of knowing which way is gravitationally down, and your legs now control something akin to Octodads. Or Quap, but that's cheating. Bennett Foddy has teamed up this time with the creator of Ape Out to deliver a Jumanji-style isekai into a rather Skyrim-adjacent world where you can enjoy such features as physics-based walking, a dynamic soundtrack, and a onesie soilage system that I'm very much looking forward to, in quotation marks.
Hey, listen, if you want to have unique mechanics, that is definitely it. That is definitely it.
Yeah, I've not seen that one before.
Hopefully never will do again. But there we have it, my friends. Those are 10 upcoming PC games that you need to get hyped about. Thank you very much, Josh, for helping me out with this list.
It's absolutely no problem.
It's definitely a problem. He's making a face at me on the webcam that you can't actually see that it's definitely inconvenienced him. Shh. Anyway, let's plug our social medias. You can go follow me over on the likes of X and Instagram, where it's at RetroJ, but the O is a 0. And you can follow Josh.
Basically everywhere at Grith, GRYITH.
So follow us both on social medias and let us know what other games you're hyped about that we didn't include in this list down in the comment section below. But until then, my friends, take care of yourself, hope you're doing well, and remember, above all else, you're a big ledge and you deserve the bloody best. But we'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.